All right, let's go on a trip. We're heading to Southeast Asia. Think about the sights, the sounds, and oh, the incredible tastes. Now, here's what's so cool about it. It feels like this single epic adventure, but it's actually made up of 10 completely different countries. So you have to wonder, right? How does that even work?
And that's really the big question we're tackling today. What's the secret sauce? What's that invisible thread connecting this huge, diverse region for someone traveling there today? Well, the answer is this amazing mix of culture, economics, and, you guessed it, unbelievable food. So let's start with what it feels like to be.
The first word that just pops into my head, vibrant. I mean, just picture it. The absolute electric energy of a Bangkok market just as the sun is coming up. Or imagine being caught in the middle of a massive nationwide water fight for the Thai New Year. It's just pure joy and color everywhere. But underneath all that incredible energy, there's this deep, powerful sense of history. It's ancient. You can literally feel it when you walk among the thousand-year-old temples of Angkor in Cambodia, or just meander through the old streets of Hanoi. I mean, this place is just steeped in history. And of course, delicious. Oh my gosh, the food. We're talking everything from the most simple street cart grilling up pork skewers that will change your life to these incredibly complex, aromatic curries that families have been perfecting for generations. The food itself is a whole adventure. So you've got it all: vibrant, ancient, and absolutely delicious.
All right, so let's get into it. For our first course, let's explore what's on the cultural menu. Because look, to really get Southeast Asia, you've got to go deeper than just the beautiful beaches and the main tourist traps. What we're really talking about here is something called cultural tourism. And no, this is not just about grabbing a selfie in front of a famous building. It's way more than that. It's about diving in deep, getting authentic experiences, actually connecting with local people, learning their stories, and trying to understand the traditions that make them who they are. You know, one of the absolute best ways to do this is to experience a local festival. And I mean a real festival. These aren't just put on for tourists. They are living, breathing moments of culture. So whether you're getting completely drenched during Songkran in Thailand or experiencing the incredible, peaceful silence of Nipi in Bali, you stop being just a spectator. You actually become part of a tradition that's been going on for generations. How cool is that?
Okay, now for the main course. And for a lot of us, let's be honest, this is the main attraction, the food. Because in Southeast Asia, food is so much more than just something you eat to keep you going. It's like a language. Every single bite tells you a story about a country's history, its landscape, its very soul. And this chart, it's basically a mini itinerary for your taste buds. You can see the connections so clearly, right? In Thailand, the crazy energy of the markets is right there in the zesty, dynamic flavors of pad thai. Then you go to Vietnam, and the elegant, imperial history of Hue is perfectly mirrored in the balanced, refined broth of a bowl of pho. And Indonesia? With its thousands of islands, that incredible diversity is all packed into the complex spices of a rich rendang. Seriously, every dish is like a postcard. So think about it. You can be at a street food stall in Malaysia one day and then jump on a flight to a cooking class in Vietnam the next, and it's pretty easy. Why is that? What's the secret ingredient? What makes this amazing multi-country foodie adventure even possible in the first place? Well, the secret ingredient, believe it or not, has a very official-sounding name: the ASEAN Economic Community, or the AEC. Now, I know, that sounds super technical and all about money. It kicked off back in 2015, and yeah, it's an economic thing. But trust me, its impact on how you travel the region has been absolutely massive. So, let's look at the AEC's recipe for making this all work. First, they focused on unifying the whole region into a single market. That made it way easier for businesses and money to move around. Second, and this is the big one for travelers like us, they made it easier for people to move across borders. And third, they really pushed for collaboration. You know, getting countries to team up on stuff like tourism packages that span multiple destinations. And you can see the difference this made right here. Before the AEC, trying to travel through Southeast Asia could be, well, kind of a headache. A lot of separate trips. Now, it's so much more of a seamless journey. And what that means for you, the traveler, is real practical stuff, like more direct flights between countries that are actually affordable, or visa rules that make planning a multi-country trip way less of a nightmare. The AEC basically helped turn a bunch of separate economies into one connected region, where people, ideas, and of course, travelers can move around much more freely. Okay, so this all sounds great. It's easier than ever to travel. But this brings us to a really important point. With this huge boom in tourism comes a huge responsibility, right? As we get to explore all these incredible places and taste all this amazing food, we have to stop and ask ourselves, what kind of impact are we actually having when we travel? And this quote really nails the problem. It says, tourism can put a strain on local resources and turn local traditions into things that are just for tourists. Oof, that is hard, doesn't it? It's this idea that if tourism isn't managed well, it could actually destroy the very things we came to see in the first place.
It really comes down to three big challenges we need to think about. First up is preserving heritage. How do you make sure that ancient traditions don't just turn into a show for tourists? The second is supporting communities. How do we ensure that the money we spend actually goes to the local people and benefits them fairly? And third is the environment. More people means more waste, more pollution. How do we manage that? Nailing the balance between these three is what sustainable travel is all about.
All right, so what's next on the itinerary? Where is this whole journey headed? Because the way we travel, especially through a place like Southeast Asia, is changing all the time, thanks to new tech and our own changing ideas about what makes a great trip.
Right now, we're already seeing people moving beyond the big capital cities, exploring these amazing up-and-coming spots. But look a little further into the future. Imagine using augmented reality on your phone to see ancient ruins come back to life right in front of your eyes, or using VR to get a feel for a crowded market before you even leave your house. And even further down the line, social media is going to be huge for this. We won't be finding hidden gems in guidebooks. We'll be discovering them through authentic stories shared by other travelers. And all of this brings us to our last question, and honestly, it might be the most important one. With it being so easy to explore the world, how do we make sure we're showing up as respectful guests and not just as consumers? It's a huge gift being able to access all these different cultures and flavors, but it comes with a real responsibility. It asks us to think about how we travel, to engage with people respectfully, to support local businesses, and to help protect the very culture we've traveled halfway across the world to experience. At the end of the day, it's about being a good guest on this incredible global journey.